Hello guys, the coin here once again. I just wanted to make another live stream just to check out what's going on. So basically nothing eventful has happened until now. We have been going sideways, so nothing major happening, at least for the time being, which I'm actually surprised we hadn't seen any kind of a movement, but I think we'll get there. These fib channels here, this yellow, green, and this orange one, it's kind of forming what's it called right now? It's a pennant formation, which could be a continuation pattern if it starts to go, if it came from the upside down, we could dump, but we could also pump. So it depends. There's never a clear indication to where this is going to break out. So because I've seen many patterns, I've seen many ascending and descending triangles. They can break whatever, man. They can break to the upside, and they can break to the downside. So that's the reality of that pattern. You can't really say it's going to the upside or going to the downside because of this or because of that. There are probabilities, but even these probabilities fail a lot. So from what I have understanding, from what the understanding that I have from the market, so in the future it's kind of the same thing. So we have been going sideways, not really any great movements going on. Let's go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin kind of the same thing. We have been hovering here, going sideways, this fib channel, which is actually resistance, like we can see here. But also nothing major going on, not really much happening. So I guess that everybody is waiting, or everything is waiting on the stock market. The stock market has been flat, so there is not really anything that I can cover from it, besides of the sideways movement. No real direction. But I must say one thing: if this was supposed to be recovering, man, we would already have started to recover, right? Because what I have been understanding, at least on the Dow Jones, is that it has been unable to break this pivot here, this pivot resistance, which actually is a major one, because if it breaks this pivot, yeah, it could go to resistance 1, 2, 3, back to the upside. But like I said, it hasn't been able to break. It broke support. It broke support 1 the first time, but it's kind of hovering between pivot and support 1. Like I said, so still not any real indication or direction that the market wants to make, which once again is actually quite surprising. I was actually expecting something to happen today, but but maybe that is not the case. Maybe will something happen tomorrow. Well, tomorrow is Friday, so it could coincide to Black Friday. Who knows? But yeah, that is basically what's going on. Let's take a look at what gold is doing. So gold also going kind of having kind of this green fib circle here as resistance. The pivot line is in here, so it broke once, but has been hovering around it. Hasn't been making any much of any big moves. Not that I can spot, at least as of right now. Because once again, if you see what I'm actually seeing in here, you're seeing kind of a rising wedge, here. So gold may be getting ready to dump hard or pump hard. Gold and silver, precious metals, are actually a little bit, as of right now, a little bit of the unknowns, because of what is actually happening in the market. But yeah, let me take a look at silver to see what's going on in silver as well. So in silver, we kind of having this. We kind of having this. This man, I just said the name in the Dow Jones, and now I forgot it. So, kind of pennant formation here, which might be a continuation pattern to the upside or to the downside. It depends on where it wants to break. So it could be very bullish for silver. The same could go to gold. Like I said, it can go either way. But once again, as I understand the markets and seeing what previously has been happening, these are the lows which coincide with the stock market. So if the stock market decides to take a dump, I believe that gold and silver will go with it, like almost everything else. So let's take a look at the let's take a look at the oil market as well. I have to make it smaller because of this huge dump here. So oil, oil also dumped from that upside, so it's kind of going sideways, maybe a little up. It's actually breaking this little pivot right now. So will be interesting to see if it can actually break this level here, which coincides with the green and the red fifth circles here, which could represent major resistance. So it kind of was major resistance here at the green. It broke and then it tried to go up again. Maybe it found resistance here on the red one, so it's kind of going with the red. And according to the pivots here, yeah, it has broken the pivot. So the question is, can it stay above? Will it stay above, or will it be tumbling down and kind of going this pattern here to the downside? So like I said, it's all dependent on the stock market, what the stock market decides to do. But it's going sideways, not much action going on. So the market is still deciding what it wants to do. I believe that once again, we're just getting ready for some kind of a movement. Like I said, I'm still bearish. I still believe that we're going to test the lows. It could be different, like we can see here in this another pennant formation here, which could break to the upside or the downside. Like I said, I'm bearish biased. I could be wrong once again, but maybe this is all about. Maybe it's about completing this pattern here, because it's starting to look like it's happening all around the market as well. So let me take a look at the DGY to see what's actually going on. Let me just remove the pivots here to have a better picture. Yeah, so kind of like we can see here, there is also kind of a triangle formation here going on as well. Rising wedge, descending wedge. It looks more like a pennant formation. So I guess we're just going down the lines. These trend lines in here. It looks like the fib channels are pushing the market down, but like I said, there's no not a conclusion. Not There is still no real idea where the market actually wants to go as of yet. We had the dump yesterday. Um, you know, it looks like we're having some kind of bear and shoulders happening in here. I don't know. I've seen this pattern before, but like this one, it does not really indicate a head and shoulders formation. You know, this could be the shoulder here. This is the head. This is the other shoulder, but it really doesn't look like it. But I don't know. It could. It could. But yeah, once again, not any real movement going on. There's no clear path. Nothing major happening. Like I said, I still believe that the market is consolidating right now, trying to decide which way it wants to go. One thing is for sure, this is not a very bullish indicator. Well, it's actually neutral. It's not going up or down, so we can say it's neutral. We can't say it's more biased to the bull market, biased to the bear market. One thing is for sure, according to the Dow Jones futures, if the Dow Jones futures loses this trend line, this channel, this rising channel here, then yeah, it's a big problem, because it has been following this channel here for a while, and breaking it would mean that yeah, a lot of trouble ahead. So maybe that's what we're waiting for, to understand the resolution of all of this. Because if this channel is not supposed to be broken, then you know it's going up again. So that's what's going on right now. The market is trying to decide which way it wants to go. I still believe this is going down. Once again, I wasn't expecting that kind of consolidation. I expected a smooth drop today, which is not happening because of this consolidation that is actually going on. But yeah, this is what's going on in the market. So we have to wait. We have to wait and see what happens. So I made this trend line, but it's already here, so I don't know why I did it. I can actually give it a little bit more color to accentuate that this line is here as well, and it's playing a role, kind of like this one that's coming from the downside. So basically, I guess the market is seeing what it wants to do. No real indication or movement that it wants to go anywhere. So like I said, there's nothing left to do but to wait. We just put here the fib channel so that we can have more accurate information. Yeah, I guess that should be good enough. So basically, we're still waiting. So we have about 2 hours for the stock market, 2 hours and 20 minutes, I think, for the stock market to close. So we might be going sideways all day, and maybe the real action only starts tomorrow. Once again, according to the pattern that I saw, I thought that something would have already happened, but that is not the case. Once again, I'm continuing my bearish bias because of all the stuff that I have been seeing in the market. So we have to wait and see what happens. But really not much action. I was expecting more action today, to be honest. I really was, but that is not the case. Hey Vitor, how you doing, man? How you doing, man? We're just waiting, man. Just waiting for something to happen. I still believe that the market is going down. I still believe that once the market breaks down, it's time to retest the March lows for the stock market and the crypto market. That's still my opinion, man. Hopefully I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong, look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I have no problems with it, because the bottom line is, yeah, you bet on your horse. If you lose, you lose. If you win, you win. So that's how it goes. But once again, I'm not basing this, all of this just because of biased information. Although I have a bias because of the chart that I'm talking about, the 1929 to 1932 chart has been very evidently. But according to that chart, we should have been dropping. I will just put that. I will put that chart that I'm talking about here for you to see. So here it is. Let me just put the. You see, the reason why I was already expecting some kind of a dump is because this here, this is where we at, right here. And like in 1929, there was a gap down, and then it started to dump right away. I would actually believe that would be the case as well, but it looks like we're still consolidating. We could still take a little bit of time. According to my projections, this move to the downside to retest the lows of March, it's going to take roughly around 7 days. So yeah, once again, I was expecting there really was a gap on the Dow Jones. There was a gap, a very small gap. But unlike here, we went up. We are a little bit higher than the gap. Like there is no gap here, there is a gap, and then there's just pushing to the downside. I was expecting that for that to happen, but like I said, there was a lot of deviations in the market. Yeah, we can't take things literally, because like this pattern, like this M, I actually believe that there will be a double top here. Didn't happen on the Dow Jones. We never went that high. We started to dump right away until this levels here. So, like I said, there's deviations, man. There are deviations, but once again, I can see this pattern all over the place. You see this? I see this pattern on the S&P 500. I see this panel on the DAX, the German indicator. I see it on the C20, which is the Portuguese indicator. I see this on the Dow Jones. So I'm seeing this everywhere, man. So that's why I believe this will play out. Once again, I was expecting it already starting to dump. I believe this dump will take about 7 days to reach about the lows that we did before. Because once again, I was just checking the Dow Jones, and to my surprise, there is also a gap that needs to be filled, and I didn't realize that until I did a little bit of research earlier today. So, you see this gap here? This gap was never filled. It went up, 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 and nothing. So, this gap needs to be filled. But there are also 2 or 3 gaps here left to be filled, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just remove here this. So, we kind of see that, yeah, we still have. This hasn't been filled yet. This hasn't been filled yet. It went straight down, and then it went up. This is filled, but this here, from this here to this here, is not filled. So left to be seen if it will be filled or not, just according to what the charts have been showing. We could not be filled, for a long time, because once again, this here wasn't filled as well. This gap here wasn't filled, guys, right? So it makes sense that this gap, which I believe is still one gap, and we kind of see it. It's one gap, not two. It's one gap. So it basically, for this gap to be closed, it needs to go back to 26,990.6. But according to when this dumped here, this gap was left open and was never filled. you know. This gap was never filled as well. We have a couple of gaps here that wasn't filled. This one was filled. This one. Well, this one was actually not filled, I think. Or was it? Not really. Looks like this gap was filled. No, this gap was filled. So we have some gaps here in the downside that weren't filled, and this is a big one. This gap here was never filled. And there is also another gap on the Bitcoin chart about around 3,050 or whatever, or 3,500 that wasn't filled as well. So we still have a couple of gaps here left. So that's one of the reasons, once again, why I believe that the market needs to go down, to fill these gaps and to go for the new lows. You know, if these gaps aren't filled now, I don't believe they will be filled for a long time. Maybe for a year and a half, who knows? Eventually they will be filled, but I don't believe that this will be the case right now. Hey Daniel Hall, how you doing, man? I'm just I'm just checking the markets out. I was expecting for more action today. At least as of now, I'm not seeing it. So we still have around about 2 hours left in the stock market. You know, about 2 hours and 45 minutes, around that, for the markets to close. So there's nothing really much going on, not much volatility. So there's kind of a pennant formation here happening almost in every chart in here. So we have to wait. To what happens here in the stock market and in the crypto market as well, because kind of, you know, Bitcoin is also kind of going sideways. It had went up from the lows of 8,975 from the early mornings. It's actually going up, but it's finding resistance at around this fib channel here. So like I said, everything is waiting, kind of waiting on Bitcoin, what Bitcoin wants to do, you know. Not really much anything happening here. So let me just kind of do here. But once again, I'm still biased to the downside. I still believe that we have to go down. This market is just acting crazy, and yesterday, you know, there were talks about the coronavirus spreading out in the United States again, which I think it's all related. So they're actually absorbing all the information, and maybe they want to dump the market after that, because we have to remember, you know, when the panic started, when the panic started in early February or whatever, it was all about the coronavirus, you know. But like I said, you know, I don't believe that. I know for fact, according to medical information, that the coronavirus hasn't been identified, or at least the COVID-19, because the coronavirus has been identified. Coronaviruses have been around since I don't know, maybe 1921. You know, it even coincides with the Great Depression crash market from 1919. We have to understand that the influenza virus killed a lot of people around that time, from 1919 to 1930 something. So there was the influenza flu, which is now called the influenza flu season. You know, influenza actually came about since that time, 1929, when the radio waves were actually started to roll out. So if that has something to do with it, we now have 5G rolling out as well, new technology back in the day and new technology back now. So there's a lot to be said about that. I'm not going to get into this right now because I don't want to be political or just, don't want to piss off YouTube. So that's what's going on. We're just waiting here for something to happen on the stock market, which once again I was expecting for something to happen, which is not the case right now. So let's wait and see if something happens tomorrow, or maybe today or tomorrow. Well, tomorrow is Friday, so it could actually be a Black Friday when the second when the second the second market crash. It's not going to be a market crash, I don't believe yet, because we're going when the market is going to, when the market dumps, it will test the lows first. Then we have a little bit of a correction, like an M-shaped. Yeah, we have the correction like this to the downside. Then we will have something like this, and then dump. Once again, I'm basing all this information that I'm showing you. All this information that I'm showing you is just based on this almost 1 century old chart, which is this. This is the Holy Grail. This is the Great Depression chart from 1929 to 1931, 32, sorry. So you see how this played out. So we are here, right? We are here. If we compare the charts, or here, we are here. Look how much we have to dump. Look, these were the lows in March. Look how much we have to dump if this plays out. Look how much we have to dump. So what really happened is that between the first dump here and this, the final capitulation, or the final bottoming, the stock market between 1929 and 1932 lost 89% of its value. So if we're going to see similar stuff like that, it's going to be amazing. Because once again, from this top to this drop here, the market back in 1929 lost 40%. We, in comparison, which is this move here, we lost 38%. So we were only 2% off. How crazy is that? Look, just take a look at, take a look at this chart side by side. Let me just, well, I can't. Look how similar it is. Look, kind of the double bottoms here. You see this double bottom here? You see this and this? Kind of this little correction that it had here. Do you see this correction? Here it is as well. Correction to the upside, kind of a little V form. Look, it's just so similar. It's crazy, man. Here we are, like I said, we are here. We are around this area. That's where we are. So we topped out from that V recovery. We went down, kind of making this wick here. Then we start to kind of make an M, which you can't clearly see because I have a lot of trend lines here, but it's basically like this. Now it's sitting around here, which is around here, right? So what are we waiting for? I don't think we're waiting for much of anything. We're waiting for another dump. So like I said, we're going to test the lows, which will be around here, around this level. Like I said, there's a gap here to be filled as well. So that's what needs to happen. Yeah, maybe this really indicated about that gap, because there is a gap to be filled. So like I said, man, if you're not seeing it, I'm seeing it, man. It's a little bit different, it had kind of a much steeper recovery than in 1929, but look, the shapes are the same here. That's why I say when we go back to the lows here, we're going kind of make another M form. We're going to have a higher high, which could not play out because this M here, it didn't play out exactly in all markets. So we could have this could be the higher high, this could be the lower low, but it's going to be kind of a M-shaped as well, and then another dump. Then we're going to recover here a little bit, going sideways for a while, we're going up, and then boom, another crash. And then we're going a little bit up, then we top out again, then we start to go down, and then we dump. Then we have another recovery, then we have another dump. Then we have another movement to the sideways, we top out, and then we dump for the last time. From the calculations that I made here, this will play out in less time than in 1929. I believe that we will be bottomed out at least November, in November 2021, not this year, next year. That's when I believe the market will finally capitulate. So take it as it is. Look, I see a lot of stuff. I see the same stuff in here that that happened in March. And this is the futures, man. I see the exact same things playing out that have been played out until now. Look, it's undeniable that this here is here, like it is here. Look at here, it's here. You see this double bottom, first one, then the second. Look, it's here as well. One bottom, then the double, then the lower bottom. Man, if you don't see it, look, even this recovery here. Take a look at this peak. It's here as well. How Yeah, like I said, man, I'm not here just hoping or whatever, man. But like I said, these patterns match up. Not just like in scale, but it really is incredible, man. I'm not making this stuff up. I didn't create this. I just copied this from 1929, man, because it's still in there. This chart is still in there. So like I said, guys, I'm not making anything up. This is the chart. This is the chart of the Great Depression from 1929 to 1932, and everything is kind of playing out for now. So that's the reason why I believe that I even marked it. I believe that this move will take about 7 days. We're going to drop around 25%, I would say. So I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I have no problems about it, because once again, I'm just basing my biased opinion on this chart alone, because once again, man, look how similar it is. Look at this recovery here that we have. Look, it's here. Look at this double bottom here, a lower low. Look, it's here as well. This peak here, it's here as well, man. This wick down and kind of the sideways movement, it's here as well, man. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you, but this is what I believe. I believe in this. I believe in almost one. I believe in an almost 1 century old chart. That's what I'm basing my analysis on. But yeah, you just can't miss it, man. You just can't miss it. It's just, if I believe this is a coincidence, no. And the reason is why, once again, this pattern that you have been showing, this pattern here, is here on the Dow Jones, is in the S&P, is in the DAX, the German indicator, it's in the C20, the Portuguese indicator, it's on the FTSE 100, the Great Britain indicator. So look, it's too much of a coincidence to see this pattern here in more than one indice, man. It's just completely insane. But yeah, that's what I'm basing my opinion around. And I'm not just basing my opinion, because I follow a guy that that has been that introduced me to these Fibonacci circles here. And he's a great charter as well. He takes a look at Bitcoin history, and he takes a look at patterns, and takes a look at how bars have played out, like we're seeing here. So, like I said, man, he's the best, without no doubt. I'm just starting with this. I just found this. I found this. I was investigating it yesterday or after yesterday. Then I went with it. I started to check out the moves, how much the stock market lost, how much the stock market lost in 1929 in this move. So in 1929 it was 40%. In this move we lost 38%, so we were 2% off. And then we had this V-shaped recovery, which is not that V-shaped in 1929. But yeah, man, this is what I'm basing my information, because, like I said, it's very similar. The numbers, the percentages are very similar to what is happening right now. So why wouldn't I take this as a reference? So this is what's going on. This is what I see here. But yeah, I can put here a little bit of a disclaimer here for the people to see. For the people to see. Let me put an arrow here. Let me create a little text. The Great Depression chart of 1929 to 1932. So that's that's what I'm basing my information here. Let's put it a little bit. That's what it's all about. The Great Depression chart of 1929 to 1932. So it's like I said, this here is the move until now, from the top to the bottom. Then we went up. Like I said, this kind of recovery here that we had here, this recovery, this double bottom to a lower low, bottom to lower low, then this kind of peak here that we have, it's here as well. Then we went sideways, and then we peaked out here. Well, we peaked out more in here, and now we're here. So we're basically waiting for the dump to March lows. That's what it's all about, guys. So, like I said, I see everything put out in here. I've been putting out this information since I stumbled on it, and I believe in it because, hey, look, the patterns, the shapes of the bars and the candles, man, it all plays out, man. It's just, that's what I'm basing my analysis on. So if you have any questions, if you want to ask me something or whatever, then so that I'm not talking to myself all the time. At least I have 2 viewers. Sometimes I have none. I guess nobody likes the content when I talk about the bear and a crash. I understand that. Nobody wants to take a look or take a listen about this. But this is the chart of your reality, or whatever you want to call it, because the IMF, the World Economic Forum, they know that the crash is coming. That's why they are talking about the great world reset. They're talking about the Great Reset. So and the reason is why they know that the crash is coming, because if people actually believe that the March crash was bad, you only have to take a look at this Great Depression chart to understand how bad it will be in about 1.5 years. When the stock market could potentially lose 87% of its value, like it did in the Great Depression. Back then it lost 89%. I'm only putting 87% because in the first drop here, so here we only lost 38% of its value, but between here and here in 1929, the Dow Jones lost 40%. So like I said, we're 2% off. We're 2% off, so maybe that's it. Maybe we are 2% off, and instead of dropping 89%, we will only drop 87%, which is very significant, man. Like I said, if this scenario like in 29 plays out, it's a killer for the big to fail, companies, man, and banks. This is what we're talking about. 2008 was nothing compared to this. 2008 was just a walk in the park. This is the real deal, man. Even the billionaires, even the billionaires, lost everything. There were some that lost a lot. So this could be the great transfer of wealth that everybody's have been talking about, as in crypto, as in as in the stock market. Because the bottom line is we have to understand something. And what I understand about all this is that legendary investor, Warren Buffett, Warren Buffett, sold his stocks. He's still holding some positions, but he's not buying any stocks right now anymore. He's sitting on $150 billion of cash. And if you start to see this, what I'm seeing right now, I believe that he sees it as well. He has been around a lot longer than I am. I'm 42. The guy is, I don't know, 70 or 70 something. So I think he was around at the Great Depression, or wasn't he? No, he wasn't around the Great Depression anymore. But he heard about it, and he felt the part of the depression, what happened at that time. So, and he had his father and his ancestors talking about the Great Depression of 1929. So the bottom line is he's more prepared, and he knows what the markets can do. And there is another billionaire out there, which is Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. He's not into the stock market. He doesn't like the stock market. He's not involved in the stock market. Do you know what he specializes in investing in? In property. That's what he likes to do, property. And I've seen some videos of him talking about that he's waiting for this crash. And the reason why he's waiting for this crash is because he makes a lot of his fortune are made in crashes. Because when this crash is said and done, there will be buying opportunities in the real estate market, in the property market. Because if you see this, the economy is going down the gutter. The properties will be you people that have money in that time. You will be able to buy properties at pennies on the dollar compared to what they are now. So we could actually see an 89% or 87% drop in the price of real estate. Because you have to understand something. This is the everything bubble. It's not just the stock market that is affected. It's the economy. It's the derivatives. That has to do with leverage, with the leveraging of kind of how the stock market and crypto works. 100x leverage, to short or long. Everything will be tumbling down. Properties. Every bubble that we know that has been around since 2008 is going to pop because of the stock market. The stock market will drop everything else. So economy is going to get decimated. The crypto market is going to get decimated. The property market is going to get decimated. Everything is going to get decimated. But the people that are making their money now, that have their money invested, Robert Kiyosaki is sitting on cash as well, right? Or is already into property because he's making money in rents and stuff. That's how he makes his money. And when the stock market is done, he has the money. He will buy more property and more real estate for pennies on the dollar. That's how these guys do it. So if you have a way to protect your wealth in these kinds of situations, and once again, if you want to bet in something, I know that's not, I'm against fiat, but if you want to protect yourself against something, use the dollar. The dollar is the world reserves currency. I know that it doesn't have anything backing it, but when shit goes down, in Europe, the euro, Japan, the Japanese yen, and whatever, everything is going, if you believe that the dollar is going to devalue, these currencies in these countries are going to devalue more than the US dollar, so the US dollar will always be strong. That's what has been happening. You just have to check out what happened in the crash of March. Everything dropped. Gold, silver, oil, everything dropped. What stayed stronger? The dollar, because it is the world's reserve currency and everybody wants to be in the dollar. When, at least in regards of of trading and everything else. When everything goes down, you want to have cash. You want to have dollars. And that's why I believe Warren Buffett, Robert Kiyosaki, and other guys, they're just sitting on a piles of cash right now. They're just waiting. They're just waiting about a year and a half. You know, Warren Buffett is I don't know what the name that is called right now. He's an investor. He doesn't invest. He doesn't invest in a stock or in something for, you know, for a year or two. He always sees the big picture down the line. That's why he's sitting on cash, because he knows that the stock market, every single stock is overvalued. He knows about that. That's why he's sitting on cash. Because if he would be like the other guys, oh yeah, let's buy Amazon at all-time highs, let's buy Tesla at all-time highs. Yeah, that's not how this guy works. He takes a look at the company. He uses a method that to see if the value of a stock is more overvaluated or undervaluated compared to what the cash flow is. You know, that's how he picks his stocks. And yeah, what did he do in the beginning of the year? He basically dropped all stocks from airlines. He dropped them, because although the stocks have recovered since this time here, right? All the stocks have recovered. You know, if we understand this chart here, and I believe he understands it, and he knows it, he's not going to buy. He's not going to wait just about 3 or 4 months to get in, and certainly he's not going to buy in right now at the tops. So basically, he's waiting, like any other guy. He's waiting for the crash to happen. He's waiting for the crash to be over, and then that's when these guys strike. Then that's when these guys buy back. And the same thing will happen to the crypto market. Although I believe that 99% of the crypto coins will go away, I'm still not sure if BTC will survive. I believe that Ethereum is going to survive because, you know, because of Microsoft, and there's a lot of powers that be that are involved with Ethereum as well, because of the contact tracing, the tracing apps and other stuff that they're building on there. So I'm not sure about BTC. I believe XRP is going to survive because they have partnerships with the banks. I don't believe that BNB or Binance Exchange will survive this. They're having a lawsuit. I don't believe they're one of them. I believe that BSV will survive as well, because once again, in my opinion, and as far as I understand it, BSV is the best blockchain out there. It's the only blockchain, as of right now, that can really scale. I don't believe that EOS will be around. I don't believe that TRX will be around, because they can't scale. In regards of talking about technicals, in regards of these coins, but yeah, most of the 99% of the crypto market will be decimated, and they will not recover from all this. They will not recover from an 87% drop. That's not going to happen. Only a couple of coins will do it. I believe that XRP will do it. I'm not sure that BTC will do it, because, you know, like I said, it's still slow. The transactions are still very, very slow, man. They didn't implement the changes that they should have, you know, since Satoshi left the project. So I still don't believe that BTC will make it. Ethereum will, BSV will, XRP will. So the others, I don't know if there will be any other survivors here. So maybe Link, maybe Tesos. I don't know, man. I don't know. The stable coins, I believe if they don't implode with lawsuits or whatever, like USDT. But even if USDT goes down, you still have USDC, and you have other stable coins that you can turn to. You have Paxos. So, you know, I don't believe that the stable coins will be that affected. You know, maybe USDT, but the others, I still believe they still are in a good position. And if eventually shit goes down the drail, you still will be able to exchange your USDT for other stable coins, because, you know, you can do it already. So it's just a question, yeah, if you see shit is going down. But that's what I think about this, because yeah, this is a big drop, guys. 89% it's not peanuts. 89%, it's a lot of it's a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot of percentage devaluation, man. This is a killer, man. 89% or 87% is a killer, man. Is a killer in any business. Do you understand that? You can't you can't run a company that loses 87% of its value, whether it is on the stock market, whether it is in debt, whatever it is. You can't have something, or you can't own a company that is 80% in debt. That's not going to happen, and unfortunately many companies will be in that situation. Many, I believe all of them, right? If you're in the stock market, but if you have a regular business, if you have a regular business that is not traded on the stock market, and if you're not betting on the stock market, then you will be better off. Or if you are into property or real estate or whatever, you just wait it out. Because like I said, guys, this is going to affect everything. It's not just going to be a bank or two. It's not only to be going to be a company or two. It's not just going to be eBay or Microsoft or whatever. They're all going to suffer. They are all going to suffer. All of them. All of them. The question is, who has more cash at hand and can mitigate the losses? That is the question. Because generally these companies, most of these companies, and we have seen in 2008, so we had Wells Fargo and we had the Freddie Mac or whatever, we had two banks that went belly down, that were bought up. They weren't prepared for this. They weren't prepared for the derivative bubble to pop like it's going to pop with this here. It hasn't popped yet, but it will pop with the market. The real estate, the everything. It's like I said, this is the everything bubble, and when the market bubble crashes, all the other bubbles will crash with it. That's just the way it is, guys. I still don't believe that people have understood that, because because this is a big deal. Because even I don't know if you can trust these companies, when the crash comes, like the stockbrokers and everything else. So, because the problem that we have nowadays, everything is digital, everything is digital. So I guess I lost a viewer now, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. I just wanted to give you my perspective on what's going on with the markets and this bubble that is actually going on. I don't like much to talk about doom and gloom, but like I said, guys, this is the reality. The stock market affects everything. Like we saw in 2008, maybe some of you don't remember anymore what happened in 2008, but in 2008, we were in the precipice of a global meltdown. That's what happened in 2008. But of course, that story is not told in the mainstream media or whatever. But this was about to happen. So the bankers went to the Senate, to the United States. They went to Washington and said, if you're not going to bail us out now, it's going to be Armageddon tomorrow. That's basically what the guy said to the senators. That's what he said. And they gave in, and they bailed out the companies and the businesses and the derivatives that they need to bail out. So they had to put it about, I don't know, I guess it was $1 trillion or whatever. Now you can't just save anything with $1 trillion, man. Donald Trump alone, Donald Trump alone just gave, when was it, about 2 or 3 months ago, $6 trillion, $6 trillion, just like that. It's going to take a lot more than $6 trillion. I know that the Fed can print unlimited amount of money, but the markets eventually will find an equilibrium. That's what we have to learn from all this. That's why the 1929 crash happened. And many people don't believe that the crash is going to happen right now because the Fed is printing money. But like I said, You can manipulate a market, but you can only manipulate a market for so long. And I believe that we are at the end of the rope. You know, every sign is telling us that is going to happen. So that's it, man. That's it. Once again, I could be wrong, but like I said, guys, I've been around for a while. I started to take a look at the 2008 crisis, and then I thought that it would happen in 2012. There was kind of a crisis, but everything was still mitigated. But now with this Corona crap and this and shutting down the world economy, this is the final nail in the coffin, guys. The world economy is not going to recover from this, and the stock market is still in the bubble, but it will pop as well. Because the world economy, we have to understand something. The United States has about 40 million people that are unemployed because of the layoffs and stuff like that. Here in Portugal, where I live, we have about 500,000 people that have filled new unemployment, that are not working because of layoffs and because there are no jobs. You know, take a look at the businesses, man. You have to wear masks everywhere. At least where I live in Portugal, you have to wear masks to everywhere. Of course, not everybody is going to the mall anymore, because they don't want to be around people that believe that are sick, and then they don't want to have the masks with them themselves. Of course, the businesses will hurt. Take a look at the bars, the coffee shops, and whatever. Do you really believe that people want to stay inside with a goddamn mask on? Of course they don't. And even the business is constrained by the rules, so they will not be able to make the money that they did before, because they, instead of having 40 or 50 people in that bar, making money, they can only now have 10 to 20. So their business is already compromised because of that. But people still hasn't understood this. Businesses are not going back because of the constraints that we have because of the masks. Because it's all about still social distancing. You can't have a certain amount of people in some areas. So businesses will continue to bleed because of that. That is the reality. If you're not a big company, if you're not a big multinational like Walmart, Target, Lidl, Aldi, Woolworth, if you're not a company like that employs a lot of people, that have a lot of branches all over the world, you're not going to make the money that they do. So if you're a small if you have a small business, a mom and pop small shop, you're done, man. Because you will not be able to make money, because first you're already constrained by the people you can sell stuff, right? And then the mortgages are still going to affect you. You still have to pay rent. You still have to pay for electricity. You still have to pay for your employers if you have them. The money that you're going to intake is less, and the money that you have to spend is basically the same. I know that are some news in the United States that they're already delaying some stuff, like the IRS, or it's not the IRS. They are delaying some stuff that people have to pay for 6 months. So I believe they're actually preparing for the reset that I was talking about, the global reset. Because once again, man, I don't believe, in a way, I don't believe that they're going to let the market crash 87% in the span of 1.5 years. I don't believe it, man. Because back in 1929, everything was new. The stock market wasn't around for much. The stock market was around maybe 4 or 5 years, and then and then everybody just played in the stock market. That's why everything went bust so quickly, because the stock market was just a brand new thing. You have to remember this. In 1929, the stock market was the brand new thing. There wasn't anything like this in the past. So everybody just well, you have to invest in the stock market. So everybody that was somebody from the doctor, the higher levels of society, and the lower levels of society, everybody invested in the stock market. And then when the margin was called, then everything dumped, and almost everybody lost their dime. That's why there were so many people kill themselves, because they lost everything, because they had everything in the stock market. Do you understand that? So the situation is different right now. So they want us to make believe. They want us to believe that the stock market is crashing because of a coronavirus. Are you freaking insane? That's not the reason, man. The reason is they orchestrated it. They killed the world economy by shutting the economy down for 2.5 or 3 months. That's what killed the economy, and that's what is going to kill the market because they did this on purpose. They orchestrated this. This was planned. This didn't happen by random. Because if all the countries, almost all around the world, did this, the lockdowns were made at the same time, so they had time to prepare. You can't just do that from one week to the other. It's impossible, guys. This was prepared since October. Just look at Event 201. They were talking about a pandemic in October 2019. They were doing an exercise about a pandemic in 2019. And hold and behold, 3 months later, what do we have? The pandemic. And then they were ready to implement the changes and everything. Do you think this is a coincidence, guys? This is not a coincidence, man. This is all an agenda. This is all an agenda. But people may believe whatever they want. Did I told you LS on my plans move over there? Sorry, Vitor. Don't understand what you're saying. Yes, I live in Portugal. Did I told you LS on my plans to move over? You want to go to Portugal or Lisbon or whatever? I'll be right back. I'm just going for a smoke. I'll just continue the chat if you're willing to. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back, and yeah, and today I just watched a YouTube video. I don't know if you heard or follow a guy that is called what's his name again? Truthflix. He makes regular videos every day, and today he's shown a video of a guy that actually picked up oxygen meter and checked out the oxygen's levels without a mask and oxygen's level when you're using a mask. So what he was saying is that normal levels, and according to the U.S. government, which I will try to post here. Oxy something, man, I can't find it. Oxy. Now I will just post the video here for you to see. I can find it. You can find the videos. You can Google the stuff that he talks about. Man, it's. I knew about this without the test because it's logical. It's logic, right? That if you have a mask, you have you don't intake as much as oxygen as you would And besides of that, you're already poisoning yourself with the CO2 that you are expelling when you breathe out, right? But here, if you want to see the video, check it out. But this is the truth, man. Masks are harmful because people that wear masks for a course of a day or have to work out or whatever, because of the less oxygen that they would take normally, they start to feel headaches, they start to feel nausea. You know, these are the symptoms of a lack of oxygen. You know, this is what it's all about, guys. And still, all over the world, they implement oxygens. Like I said, here in Portugal, if you want to go to a public closed space, if you want to use transportation, you have to wear a mask. And masks deprive you of oxygen. But people still don't get it. The governments sure still don't get it, because the government, they were told to do so. Because all the governments that went along with this, they knew in advance, because they had to prepare in advance. Because you can't just call, yeah, pandemic, we just going to implement measures and something like that. You can't do this in a couple of weeks. It takes planning, man. And that's what happened, guys. So take a look at this video, and the guy explains and searches the links. You can do it yourselves too, and then he shows the video of the guy that made the test. It's really unbelievable, man. What these people, what these motherfuckers have been putting out for us to do, man, because we are harming ourselves. And people don't understand it, and then they come with the excuse, oh, but Asia always use masks. Well, it's part of their culture for whatever reason, but it doesn't mean that these people are healthy, that are wearing masks and believe that they're contracting or believe that they're safe to contract diseases from other people, man. You know, that's the reality of stuff. That's why sometimes I talk about this. Sometimes I talk about this stuff on my videos, because, you know, I've seen document after document talking about this stuff. You know, the Rockefellers, they have been talking about the population. They have been talking about the population control. They have been talking about even the pandemic. They have been planning this for decades, guys. This is the reality. That's why Event 201 was created in October, because they were already signaling, the governments back then, be ready for us to do this. And they just wanted to see who will go along. Because this is still an experience, you know. Yeah, man. Yeah, it all comes into place, because, you know, masks, the reality is that masks don't protect us from nothing. If there really was a serious disease out there, a bacteria, because once again, you can't catch viruses through the air. They're not airborne. It doesn't happen like that. But bacteria, you can catch it. Or aerosols, you know. Heavy metals, small particulars of heavy metals, you can catch them. And no mask is going to protect you from that. That's just the reality of all this. And still the governments and everybody tells you, yeah, you use masks, you will be protected. You have to protect yourself and the others. Come on, guys, this is bullshit. This is bullshit, man. But yeah, man. Like I said, guys, or Vitor, man, it's just bullcrap, man. It's just complete nonsense. What they want us to do, because of something that really isn't out there. You know, what really is out there is a flu, and once again, the flu, the regular flu kills between 300 and 650,000 people every single year, and no pandemic was called because of that. And the influenza flu, it has been killing people since I guess 1929 as well, or 1924. It has been killing people since 1924, around from 250 to 650 people, 50,000 people every year worldwide, and never any pandemic was called because of it. And it's serious, guys. Of course it's serious, because it kills a lot of people. But still, no pandemic, no lockdowns were required for us to be protected against the seasonal flu. They keep coming up with shots every year for us to protect ourselves against the flu, but still they haven't been able to eradicate it. So how effective are those flu shots? They are not effective at all. All you have to do is to use your immune system and strengthen it with vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin A. That's what you need. You don't need anything else for the flu or any kinds of disease. If you intake lots of vitamin C, uh, concentrated vitamin C is very good for our body, man. Very good for our body. I know that hasn't been applied in so-called modern medical, but it's very effective because there are results about it. Intakes of concentrated vitamin C shots. This is healthy, man. But yeah, many people are still walking on the clouds and still buying what the governments are telling us and whatever, man. It's all bullshit, man. Everything is going to fall apart. Everything is already falling apart. But they still want to sell you the fantasy that they will protect you. They will not protect you, man. Governments never protect you from anything. What they do is to rob you blind. That's what they do. Because politicians, they're just selling their fish, man. They just want to take care of them and theirs. They don't care about you. They never have. Throughout the history of all this, I've been studying history for a while, and the governments, they don't care about you, man. They care about power. That's what they care about. And to preserve the power, they will kill anyone and everything that is a threat to their power. And that's what has been happening. Take a look at what happened with Iraq. Take a look what happened to Gaddafi. Take a look what happened to Saddam Hussein. Take a look at these countries that are a potential threat to the United States economically. They just wipe them out and take over the resources. What did Iraq had and has? Oil. What did Gaddafi has? Well, Gaddafi, Libya, is it Libya? Gaddafi, well, he had a lot of water, so there is water. And the bottom line is one of the main reasons why they were killed is because Saddam Hussein actually wanted to sell his oil for euros. That's why he was killed. Because if Saddam Hussein would start to sell his oil with euros, the dollar would stop being the world damn, I forgot the term right now. The world reserve currency, right? Gaddafi was killed because he wanted to sell his oil, so it has oil as well. He wanted to sell his oil in gold. That's why he was killed. You see what I'm saying? So these people, they were killed because the sovereignty of the money making of the powers that be was at stake. Because if they would get away with it, then everybody wanted to do the same. Look at Saudi Arabia. If it wasn't for Saudi Arabia for them to sell their oil in US dollars, man, the game would have been over for a long time for the United States. A long time. But they go along with it. Why? Because they get rich. They can do whatever they want, These cheeks and these people that rule that country, they can do whatever they want and they get punished in this, and they still have the loyalty of the Americans because they have the oil there and the oil needs to be sold in US dollars. That's why Saudi Arabia is there, because if it wouldn't be for that, they would already be gone as well. But Saudi Arabia has also the support from Israel and some other stuff. There's a lot of interest going on in the Middle East, and we all know that Israel, plays the biggest part in all of that. But that's what I believe is going on. So yeah, we have kind of the futures market actually going a little bit down. Let me take a look at the Dow Jones. Yeah, it looks like the Dow Jones is actually looking like it's going to dump a little bit. So it's around the gap area. It's already starting to go up. It like I see it, like I said, there's a lot of resistance here in that ring here, in that fib circle, which is actually acting as support. So this should be acting as resistance, and there's also a pivot here. So I guess today will be like this. It's going sideways. Maybe tomorrow we have a resolution for all of this. But yeah, like I said, man, I'm not seeing anything good coming out of all this. So yeah, this is my 2 cents about all this. Yep, I guess I'm going to kill the live stream right now, because nothing has really happened. I already get off my chest stuff that I wanted to talk about. So for now there's not much action going on. Just let's take a look at the rest of the market. Let's take a look at silver here. So silver, well, silver is actually doing well right now. There's also a pennant formation in here, so even silver and gold, they're still also finding a resolution. So everything, all the markets are trying to find a resolution, and tomorrow there will be, there will be a clear direction, which I believe is going down. Let's take a look at oil again. So oil also went down with the stock market yesterday from the dump. Let's take a look at the Brent. The British traded oil. Like you can see here, yeah, there was another dump as well. It must be at some kind of pivot. Let me take a look. Yep. Here is a pivot line. For now it's above it. Let's see if it can keep above that pivot line. So let me take a look at the Euro USD, because that's what I'm talking about. You see all these indices that I'm checking, the forex, the commodities, everything. When the market dumps, everything will dump with it. So the euro is losing a lot, and when this market starts to dump a lot, the euro will even lose more. So like I said, because the USD is the world reserves currency, they will be on top, and everybody still want to be holding dollars or digital dollars instead of having other currencies. So like I said, guys, there's not much going on right now. Once again, the market is still deciding what it wants to do. It's maybe consolidating, going sideways, but once again, I believe this is going down. So this is BTC right now. It's kind of it's going that trend line actually quite perfectly. Yep, that's all I got for now, guys. So I may be coming back later if there's some more action that I can report about, but basically that's it for now. So I'm the coin, and I'm out.